Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Trahern Crews Show. We're honored tonight to have Mo from I Got Something to Say. He got a podcast, a show that comes on. He can introduce himself, say what's up to the people, and then let us know when and where your show comes on, all the good stuff.
SF Mo, your prison lawyer. I know y'all know who I am. I don't need to let you know, but if you don't know, if you're lame, you don't know. I got a podcast called I Got Something to Say, straight out of St. Paul, Minnesota. We deal strictly with criminal injustice, the criminal injustice system. Our studio is the Grill Pit. You in the Grill Pit, you feel me? And my man Ron B is with my man Ron B. We do interviews. We do current affairs, we do current events. We try to stay current on the criminal justice system because it's moving so fast, it's dynamic. We try to keep you plugged with that. We try to release something at least once a week, if not twice, 3 times a week. So just tap into us on IGSTS, link up, get in the comment box. We appreciate you. I appreciate this brother for letting me jump on the show. Let's do this.
Man, honored he's here. This program will be rebroadcasted on www.blacktvs.com or Black Watch Television on your Roku channel. So this week, this is an ongoing situation. We're going to talk a little bit about the Jackson water crisis. We're going to listen to like a 30-second clip.
Finally returned to Jackson, Mississippi after a system failure left 150,000 people with dry faucets.
But the city still remains under a boil water advisory for the time being. Jackson's mayor says just because the water is running doesn't mean they are out of the woods yet. Here's what he told John Dickerson on CBS News Prime Time.
After water pressure is restored and people can consume the water, people are in a are lured in a place of complacency without a major overhaul, without a major capital improvement. It's not a matter of if these systems will fail again, but when they will fail again.
Alex Eaton.
So yeah, that was the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, talking about the water crisis that's going on down there. What are some of your thoughts about what you just heard?
It's Flint all over again. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that they knew this was going to happen. I'm sure they knew this was going to happen. I guess the only way they could garner support is probably allow it to happen because now it's big news, right? Why is it happening? A black community like Flint, or I wouldn't even say black, because Flint was a mixture of different individuals. It just seems like the people who don't have money, I'll make it simple for everybody, who don't have money are the ones who don't receive the social resources necessary for them to survive. So with that, I just feel like it's Flint all over again. But the problem with that is I feel like it's going to happen more often around the nation.
No doubt. And I think there's a couple other places too that got some water, but they're mostly like black communities where most of this water crisis is and where there's dirty water. I know even here in St. Paul, there was a boil alert on the east side about a month ago.
Well, California always have water issues. The problem is not the water. You got rich people watering they fucking grass and shit like that, or watering their plants. And you got water restrictions in the areas that aren't that are lower. You know, they can't afford to pay the fee, so they have water restrictions. But water, you got to ask yourself a question: why is water so prevalent in certain areas and not in others? There's a lot to do with the lower class, and usually those lower class areas are predominantly black. So it is what it is, man.
Man, so. There's so the White House, man, they put out some money. So there's this money, it's called American Rescue Plan funds that the Biden administration put out. And according to y'allpolitics.com, for the fiscal year of 2022, the Mississippi legislature allocated $450 million to the Department of Environmental Quality, with $400 million going towards water and sewer projects in cities and counties, and $50 million to match assistance for cities that received under $1 million in coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds. A subtotal of $300 million will be allocated to the State Department of Health for rural and water association and utility authorities. So, but as you can see, like you were saying, the money was sent out to the rural areas, but not into Jackson, Mississippi.
Right. You know, a lot of that stuff that's going on in a place like Mississippi is still historical, because they had a lot of issues after slavery, because they were a slave economy. They've been suffering ever since. They also find themselves to be a Republican state, and they instead Republican state, small government, more state control. The state is poor, really has nothing to offer in its capitalist system, and that's why they became a slave society. Under this situation that you have right now with these individuals and the allocation of money, if there's no transparency, we really don't know where the money went and how the money was spent. You know what I'm saying? And with this situation being what it is, you can see right now how infrastructures are, how they're changing up, how we look at cities and rural areas, and how they want money to be spent. I'll just go back into the criminal justice system and look at it from that standpoint, because it's easier. So you want to take certain things and put them in these communities to help stimulate these communities' economy. And that's just because you want to maintain a tax bracket, a tax base, so the community continue to run, have the better schools, have the nicer infrastructure, have nicer roads. And you can see that. Go from Broadway into Brooklyn Park, and from Brooklyn Park to St. Louis Park, you'll see the difference in infrastructure. So if that's the case, you can understand, like, this situation would never happen in the all white community, period. Zero. So for it to happen in Jacksonville or in Flint, Michigan, specifically, is because they really don't care about those individuals, and it's at a certain particular point, people are gonna wake up and understand it's a little bit more than TikTok dancing. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Man, exactly. And then a lot of things that's really been buzzing hard on the I mean, they're talking about it nationally and whatever, but Queen Elizabeth passed away, I think Friday or Thursday. And then we've just been hearing a lot of people sad about it, but then also you've been hearing some people not too sad about it. What are some of your thoughts on that?
SAF Mo, your prison lawyer, grill pit. I ain't never gonna be sad about. I mean, to each his own. I mean, the fact that she passed away, to her family, it's serious. You know what I'm saying? But to an individual like myself, and knowing the history with the Britain and the slavery, and the fact that they still have kings and queens, and it just shows you, I mean, their connection with the colonization of countries. I mean, you still got to deal with that history. They did, for the individuals who are Black in Britain, I'm sure they have been given nationality, unlike the African American in United States. Because remember, when we were still being segregated, they felt as though that they were part of their country, which is it's not anything. The fact that they felt like that still doesn't take away from the fact that we all were taken from Africa and sent around the nation specifically for economic stimulus program to help these individuals who were in debt at the time. Our free labor actually got Great Britain out of debt at the time. But with that being said, any connection to the lady passing away is muted by the fact that I'm Black and American. I catch hell every day. So let's just put that on a plate and talk about that, because I mean, shit, whatever, she lived a great life on the sweat of other people, you know. So I mean, who really cares at the end of the day? It is what it is.
So like island countries, you know, I'm not saying all of them, but they were showing some of our Jamaican brothers and sisters like feeling sad, you know, because I don't know if Jamaica is still like a commonwealth of Britain.
It is. The reason they feel sad is because you understand what Marcus Messiah Garvey left out. If Marcus Messiah Garvey was walking on the streets right now, some Jamaican done lost, you know, delusional Jamaican would stone him to death. Because Jamaicans like Africans, like the new Africa, they've been assimilated. I told you before that just like the blacks in England or the blacks in Great Britain, they were given a nation. The Jamaicans they were told they were English. That's why they don't speak their native tongue. They are English. They've been colonized, and they have an affinity for that. Great Britain, right? So they really truly don't know who they are. The rebellion, the revolutionary they had in them don't exist anymore. When Marcus Garvey, the reason Marcus Garvey's go back to Africa movement didn't succeed in Jamaica and it succeeded in the United States because we're in two different areas. Again, the Jamaican thought that he was English.
Yeah,
he was given that. He accepted that. We knew. We remember we had different water fountains. Like the water tastes different if he was colored, opposed to being white. We had different you know, it was segregated. America made no promise to us, so we knew that we didn't belong here. So of course, a Jamaican's gonna have a certain type of connection because he believes that's his. He forgot that he's a Jamaican and he was an African before. You know what I'm saying? He forget that all that's been scrubbed out of him, and he's been given a nation, and he accepted that nation. So, of course, they feel a certain type of way about that lady dying, a white lady dying, white lady dying. But she cared 2 bits about them.
Man, and can you speak on just briefly just how much, you know, not how much, but just how much was taken from Africa by Britain? You know, we know they took a lot of slaves from Africa, but there's also other, you know, like treasures or things they have in the museum.
It's not, the treasures they took were the slaves, period, point blank, because there's nothing, because I told you at the time that Euro country had just come out of these holy wars, these wars they had fought amongst themselves, and they had pillaged their bank accounts. They had no money at all. So slavery in turn gave them the wealth, made them what they are. Of course, she said, of course, colonization. These Euro countries split up Africa specifically for its resources, but the primary resources they took from it was the work, the manpower, the intellect. Imagine how great Africans were when they came over to the United States and made United States, because we're the ones who made the United States what it is today. Sir. It was off our back and our sweat and our intellect. No matter how stupid they want to claim we are and how many games they want to play, but without playing like they didn't know how intelligent we were. It was Benjamin Banneker who reproduced the Washington D.C. with just vision, without anything but seeing that blueprint a few times. Right. And a few times is speculative, you know, but it's well reported that he had photographic memory. And right. He's the one that built Washington D.C. He was an African. That's what I'm saying? So, you know, all these African, we can go on and on and on. The great Frederick Douglass, a slave. Right. So when you ask me a question about the resources that was removed, I'm not gonna get into the fact that Africa needs nothing at all from nobody ever needed anything. Anybody who came to Africa took from Africa because they did not have it where they came from, right? So Africa has always been the cradle of civilization, the Garden of Eden, and for them to come there, they came and they taken everything. And the fact of the matter is, if you ever watch these different videos or these different Eurocentric movies, they show the African without any clothes on, you know, and it's supposed to be funny. But when
like
you have a
Tarzan
body,
and stuff like that.
huh?
The white they show Tarzan swinging in the jungle and stuff like that.
Well, they depict the African as being unintellectual and being uncultured because he had no clothes on. Well, Africa is hot as hell, and if you had a body like an African, you would want to show it off, right? So this is just them trying to recreate our history, and like I said, the biggest resource they took from Africa is the human being. Because imagine if we were still there. They have this thing they call Wakanda. Wakanda would be nothing compared to what we would be right now if Africa was still intact.
No doubt.
That's it. Yeah.
Man, it's ironic that they buried the Queen today, and today's September 11th. Joe Biden was speaking out on September 11th. We're almost 20. We are 20 years removed from that incident. Us as Black Americans, considering some of the things that happened after that, like the hyper surveillance. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was going on before that. 9/11 just gave them a blank check to do that. They're smart, they're they don't defeat well, but every defeat, and I discussed this in one of my episodes, and I think I specifically was talking about talking about chess, where a defeat might look like a defeat, but in actuality, it's a win. And that's how they function. So 9/11 was never a defeat, it was a win, because they were able to then manipulate the situation and do the surveillance, the hyper surveillance, to do to get the data they want from people that weren't even part of any type of terrorism, but they were able to come up with categorizations like extreme terrorist that they utilized against Black movements in order to surveil them based on 9/11. So nothing they do has anything with what you would think it would do, what's being projected as the reasons why behind it. So they'll say something like, this is necessary to go get these terrorists. The terrorists they're talking about, they're specifically talking about you and I. They have no intentions of getting any terrorists whatsoever. If it is, it's by accident.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, it's 9/11 and what's going on now, the whole water situation. It should tell Black folks first and foremost to go back to the 1960s and look at the Panthers. And they had before Home Depot, they said do for self. So we should be doing for self, and we should already know how to make water, turn dirty water to clean water, since we don't know, because it's already showing you what the future looks like. So the state's not going to be taking care of you anymore.
Right.
It's not going to be taking care of you anymore. They're not. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening in the near future. Well, and they're making it. They're showing it evident. It's just showing you. They're showing their hands. And one of the things, because we don't have, organic communal gardens are just. It's a fad. No, communal gardens could be a staple in our community. The fact that we have no trades. Go ask a young person now how to do anything. They could barely put windshield wiper fluid in their car, let alone fix a car. So there's a lot of things being stripped out of that community, specifically to disable us. And the Mississippi water situation is it's the tip of the iceberg, man. Right. It should be a wake up call.
Absolutely. Man, thank you for coming on the show tonight, man. If you could give us the information again on where, when, how people can come check your channel out, and if you got Cash App or anything like that, hit us with all that good information.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this: if you don't know who SAF Mo is, and you know IGSTS, and you don't know you're in the grill pit, then you must live underneath the rock, because we everywhere. Podcasts, Instagram, YouTube. Just type in IGSTS. it's gonna ask you what took you so long. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Because so everywhere, all platforms doing it, and I'm in the streets, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. So we everywhere. Just like I say, just go to mainly YouTube, type in IGSTS, click that subscribe button, click that notification, and keep you hip.
No doubt, man. We're gonna be reaching back out to you. We want to do these recaps once or twice a month. So look forward to having you back on the show soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be here. It's all good,
All right,
bro.
man. Appreciate
Just
it.
let me know. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Peace. No doubt. And that was Mo from I Got Something to Say. Want to thank him for coming on the Trahern Crews Show and chopping it up with us tonight. Don't forget, this program will be rebroadcasted on www.blacktvs.com or Black Watch Television on your Roku channel. Have a successful and prosperous week. All right? Peace.